Hey everyone, and welcome to Talk Lofty to Me, with a podcast where we break down the best tips, tools, and strategies to help real estate agents dominate their day with Lofty. Today, I'm super excited because our guest is someone who lives and breathes CRM success. Today, we have Cynthia Castillo, who is a CRM specialist who has helped countless agents unlock the full potential of Lofty from onboarding to optimization. Cynthia knows exactly how to structure your Lofty system so that it works for you and not the other way around. So whether you're brand new to Lofty or you're ready to level up your automation, Cynthia's insights will help you turn your database into a deal-making machine. So grab your coffee, fire up the smart plans. Let's dive in. This is Talk Lofty to Me. And we have Cynthia Castillo here today with us. Hey, Cynthia, how's it going?
Hi, doing good. How are you?
I am doing awesome. I've been super excited for this episode to shoot with you because you've been helping a lot of the Lofty agents get set up for success, and I want to hear all about it. So, just to kind of start off from ground zero, tell us a little bit about where Mango Business Consulting came from.
Yeah, you know what? I had a lot of real estate experience. My mom was a top producer who just dragged us with her everywhere, from open houses to sitting in the office, printing papers, and then eventually helping with her marketing once I got a little older. And then after I finished school, I needed to have a job. And she said, you know what? Why don't you work in lending? And so I got a job in lending, helped a lot of agents because we were in house. And from there, I kept going back to the CRM. My lender had a CRM, and then we also helped agents too. And so as I kept helping agents and kept helping agents, I thought, you know what? More people need more help. So Mango Business Consulting was born.
That is awesome. Yeah, I know there's always kind of this demand amongst real estate agents. I hear it quite frequently in the market, where agents are constantly kind of transitioning tech stacks, which hopefully they have their final stop with Lofty because it does absolutely everything for them. But kind of some of those first struggles on those early on is like, oh, I don't want to have to really set up a new platform. I just went through this a year ago because I was promised the world and yada, yada, yada. And it's very cumbersome. So I guess tell me a little bit about, like, what are some things maybe that you hear from agents, because you're the one helping them, you're on the front line actually getting these agents dialed in for success. So what are some like common things that you hear more frequently than others?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups and a lot of agent groups where I'm hearing feedback from every system. And a lot of the times, people are trying to piece together too many things. And it becomes really difficult to manage so many systems when you could go to just one system. So Lofty is the top of my list because it has everything in one spot. And it's so easy to make those edits and to have everything together and have training on only one system instead of having 10 different things that we're training agents on and learning and implementing. So
Y- Yeah.
definitely trying to dial down and say, okay, what do we really need? Where is it going to be? And taking that approach, I think.
So when you onboard a new client with Lofty, what's like step one? I know you do the consulting part to kind of understand their business needs and their goals, but kind of explain a little bit about like what your first steps are going to be when you go to help out, an agent get set up for success.
Sure. I think in any system, but especially in Lofty, you're going to want to make sure that your settings are set up properly. So your agent profile is going to need everything from your headshot to correct information. And then making sure that you have all your socials on there too is a really great way to stay connected with everyone. And it may seem really silly, but this is an often missed step is to just make sure your entire profile is complete, as well as making sure you have a bio written. And sometimes all you need is to take it to ChatGPT and get a little something written up and then just updating it, because having a bio from 15 years ago doesn't always work out. You want to make sure the years are correct. You want to make sure you highlight your wins that you've had and your successes, things like that. So that's going to be number one, is to make sure that's set up 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that like with Lofty, we also have like the agent guided setup that really navigates them through that process, which is really cool. But it's also really kind of assuring that you're also helping them understand the importance of getting that agent bio set up, getting their profile completely filled out from their MLS ID so that their listings are pulling in properly, all the way down to those social platforms, because we know the gold is in all the social platforms right now, right? So if you're not driving traffic to make connections through those social platforms, you might be missing some opportunities there.
Mhm.
From there, I guess what would be step two? Because I hear a lot about like smart plans. I hear a lot about like, oh my God, these integrations. I don't understand what Zapier does. Like,
Oh,
I got to get
no.
all my lead sources into this one place. I guess kind of explain a little bit about like maybe a smart plan or an integration, like what you really kind of focus in on there.
Do you know what? Actually, it's gonna be none of those things. It's
Oh,
gonna be
wow.
organization. I
Yeah.
think the first thing is knowing who you even have in your database. And so when I first meet someone, we have a consultation and we say, okay, who do you have in your database and in your business? Where do your leads come from right now? And where do they need to come from in the future? So I might have someone who says, hey, we've been doing a lot of referral business, or we have really good SOI, or we have maybe some events that we're doing, but I'm thinking about doing ads. And I say, perfect. So let's organize that, make sure it's in Lofty. So we export them, import them, make sure they're in there, first of all, so that you can track everything. And then if they want to do ads, of course, Lofty offers that too. But I think it's going to be organization. So that and making sure you have your pipeline set. So, like that, once people get in there, we know what we're going to do with them. So that's step number one. And then next would be smart plans for sure.
Yeah, oftentimes that organizational piece is missed, right? It's like you're going from one system to another. You've done your lead export. There are going to be some vast differences and things that you have to understand that Lofty does different than maybe like your previous tech stack, right? Like, for example, one of the most common ones that I see is people going from one tech stack to Lofty and us having more types of leads, right? Like we have more lead types than most other platforms out there, and really just making sure that actual import's going to be structured to accommodate and fit that. I think that's huge.
True.
Tell me a little bit about like how you're helping agents with understanding hashtags and maybe understanding pipelines, because pipelines is another kind of feature that Lofty has that other people might call like a status, right? Where our
Mhm.
pipeline's kind of the equivalence to that, but a pipeline could be anything, right? Like it could be a hot lead, a cold lead, a warm lead, do not contact, an AI follow up. Like we have so many different pipelines. I guess during that organizational process, are you kind of explaining these things to them?
Absolutely. And I like to also see what the agent wants to do or the team wants to do. So we go over goals as well. If you don't know how many calls you're trying to make per day or per week, it's really hard to structure the system if you don't even know that part. So first we say, all right, how much do you want to work? How many hours do you have per day to dedicate to your real estate business? And, what's your end goal? How many deals do you want to do? How many leads do you need to get in here to make that happen? Because at the end of the day, this is a business. It's not like we're all doing this for just a hobby. Maybe some people are, but for the
Yeah.
most part, the people I work with are really serious and they really want to be successful. And so I think knowing what your goal is, what you want to do is key. But then after that, deciding what that means for each pipeline and what best practices are or standards are for each type. For example, a hot lead versus like maybe a cold one, and what we want to do with that. So a lot of it ends up becoming kind of like some SOPs of, all right, what should we really do with this? And then it makes it easier if they're going to onboard more team members. They
Mhm.
already have a roadmap and a guide for, okay, this is what we're going to do when we get a new lead. This is what we're going to do when someone's been sitting there for a little while. And I really recommend that everyone in your database is getting something from you, whether it's an email, a call, a text, anything, especially past clients, because they're going to give you more business. They're going to be your biggest cheerleaders.
Right.
So
Yeah, and those are the people that are going to send you business as long as you're asking for it, right? Like they're sometimes they don't just do it naturally. Sometimes you actually got to go and ask them, "Hey Cynthia, do you know anybody by chance that's considering moving or buying a home here in the future?"
absolutely. They don't even think about it because it's not their business. Everyone is in their own bubble of life. And if you
Mhm.
don't have someone telling you, hey, what about this? You might not even think about it. It might not even cross your mind. You're just in your day to day grind of maybe going to work or taking care of things or whatever you're doing. But agents really do need to ask, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to ask. And they should be like, oh, of course. You know what I mean? Because you do a good job. So,
Yeah. Well, you mentioned business goals, right?
mhm.
Lofty actually has a business goals feature. Is that something that you're helping your clients as well get set up on
Sometimes.
sometimes?
Sometimes. It depends. A lot of times I like to take it slow with my clients and I will be
Mhm.
like, "Okay, which piece do we wanna focus on first?" So a lot of times first it's people because that's really where the business is, and
Yeah.
then maybe it's transactions, but that goes along with business goals too. So it all goes hand in hand.
Got you. And then I guess from there, like what is the next step? And I don't want to go like through the entire process because I'm sure it would take hours.
Oh,
But
yeah.
next step, organizational, right? We talked about organizing your database, getting your leads imported, understanding the importance of those organizational structures. But what would come next? Like a smart plan? Are you setting up these people on automations? Are you going to, because there's so many tools inside of Lofty, right? It's like everybody has their own path to success. They just really need to sit down and figure out what they want to do before they just dive headfirst into the actual platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's true, and I also think it's true that they need to just log in and play with it a little bit,
Yeah.
get comfortable with that. Before I answer your question really quick, I just wanna mention, um, a lot of the people I work with too might have some resistance to CRMs, and they have maybe paid for a lot of CRMs, but not used a lot of CRMs,
Yeah.
because coaching will say, hey, you really need a system. And then they'll say, okay, I'll buy it. But then they never log in or they just never get to that point where they're comfortable. And
Yeah.
so I really recommend my people to, hey, just log in 30 minutes every day and just click around, get used to it because it's not so hard once you're in there. But if you never even go in there, then it's too hard. So
Yeah.
that's number
Yeah.
one. But
And I think that's the saying too, right? Is like the best CRM is the CRM you're going to use.
it's true. It's
So,
honestly true. But I think Lofty is really easy to adopt and it's great. But to answer your question, smart plans and smart lists and everything like that, um, that comes after organization. And what I like to do with my clients is we will look at the different categories that we have and as well as the most common people that come up. For example, let's say some of the people that I work with like to work with buyers and they're like, hey, we do first time home buyer seminars. I'm like, okay, cool. If you have that set of people, then we know that they are first time home buyers and they're going to have certain needs. So my company will list out the needs of different types of clients and we will create custom smart plans for all of them. Which sounds overwhelming, but once you're in the system and you're using it, once you talk to someone, which agents should be making their calls, which is key, or
right.
texting people. And so if they're not doing that, I can only do so much with automations, but we go ahead and make everything for each client type. And that's to overcome their fears, to overcome their objections, and to meet them where they're at, because everyone is in their own journey. And for example, a first time homebuyer is going to have very different needs from like someone who's downsizing. If you're downsizing, you've already owned a house, you feel like it's too big, you want to do something else. It's a whole different type of person.
Yeah.
And so we like to go through all those different client avatars and pair that with agent strengths. So we will go ahead and do a value proposition sheet. And when my agents go through this, or my teams, we go ahead and go over their values, their experience, what has gotten them to this place so far, to really highlight who they are. Because I think agents don't even talk about themselves enough either, which might be counterintuitive, but I feel like not enough of them talk about their wins and their goal and what they've done for people. Because I hear agents doing the craziest things, like, oh, they paid for a water heater, they, fixed the roof, they go
Yeah.
above and beyond all the time. And I feel like people need to know that because the people I work with really care about other people. And more people need to know about it. It's not just anyone that you're going to work with. It's going to be someone who's going to fight for you and make sure you get what you need, but you have to tell them. And so I
Right.
help agents, make sure that they tell people what they're doing. So,
I think that's huge. And I love that you highlight that because I think every agent has a specific business niche, right?
mhm,
Regardless if you say, oh, I just help everybody, right? There is one niche specific that you probably help more than others, right? For example, like my niche is just basically dominating my neighborhood, right? Like I'm the neighborhood agent. I don't go, out of my zip code. I just basically sell in my neighborhood, and that's my pool of sellers. And I think to your point, it's very important to create smart plans and automation that follow up to that specific audience. Like you mentioned, first-time home buyers, for example, you're not going to have the same messaging for a first-time home buyer that you are a downsizer or an upsizer, and or somebody who's PCSing or relocating, right? Like all the messaging is going to be different across the board. So it's super important that when you get your automations set up, that it's actually speaking to that audience so that you're sending the right message and they understand exactly what you can do for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is huge in getting that set up. So I guess if somebody wanted to schedule a consultation, of course, they can go ahead and scan the QR code here on the screen. But what are some questions that they should be prepared for you to ask during that consultation?
I think number one is going to be, which system are you using? Are you going to be using Lofty or something else? Lofty is going to be my preferred one. And the reason that I have for that is you're able to do a lot of mass actions. So not all systems will let you do mass actions, and Lofty does, which is phenomenal, which means you can turn on a smart plan for a bunch of people, or you can do a mass text or a mass email, and there aren't as many limitations there. Especially compared to other systems. Number two is going to be for their website. I absolutely love the landing pages, and it's so easy to make one with Lofty. And so we help with that. And so if you don't have a CRM, Lofty, you should check it out. But if you have a different one, we can use that too. We work in anything. We've worked in, KV Core, Real Geeks, Fall Boss. I mean, KW Command, you name it, we've worked in it. So we can help you with that. So number one is know which one you're going to use, because some people come to me and they're like, I don't even know what to pick. So we talk about your needs and your budget, and we choose something for you. And so that's number one. Number two is going to be if you have your contacts. If not, we can help you. So if you don't have an export file of your stuff, we can help with that, whether your contacts are in your phone, in your email, in your various systems, we can help consolidate that for you. And then the last thing is just going to be about yourself and your business. So if your brokerage has certain perks that you like to talk about, for example, maybe a concierge service, other vendors that you have relationships with, things like that, it'd be great to know. And then lastly is to just know if you're serious. If you're serious and you're ready to make a change and you want your system to really work for you, I mean, that's the biggest question, So
yeah. So if you had to choose one feature inside of Lofty that was your favorite feature, what would you say that feature would be?
Oh my gosh, that's so
I know
hard. It has
it's
too
a hard
many good
question.
ones, but I would say, honestly, the landing page creation. And I'll tell
Gotcha.
you why. My favorite way to organize things is through tags. And inside the landing page, which if someone doesn't know, a landing page is the same thing as a website, but just like one page of the website. And if you're going to submit information there, it has to go somewhere. So landing pages in Lofty will automatically get people from your website into your Lofty system. So you don't have to connect it with anything. You don't have to do anything extra. It already just goes automatically. But to take it one step further, it goes automatically and you can add a tag. Why is that important? Because you can have different smart plans turn on through tags. And so, or even through other things too. But if, let's say, you have a page to sign up for something like a freebie or something, they can get an automatic text, an automatic email. It's just so easy to create that workflow. And so I love it. That's my favorite for sure.
Awesome. Well, that is good to hear. To wrap it up, though, the last question I like to ask all of our guests: if you had to give agents one piece of advice today about Lofty, what would you tell that agent?
Oh my gosh, that's a hard one. One piece of advice about Lofty.
Yeah, let's just say one piece of advice about Lofty. If an agent was new to Lofty, coming on board to Lofty, what's one piece of advice that you would give that new agent?
I would say jump in. I would say jump in.
Yeah.
Log in every day for 30 days before deciding you don't like it or deciding that it's too hard or anything like that. Log in for 30 days. And I know you said one piece of advice, but I'm going to give one more. Support is there to help you. So if you have a question, just make sure it's really specific and support can help you 100%.
That's awesome.
And call me, right?
Yeah, call Mango.
Yeah.
Call Cynthia over at Mango Business Consulting. QR code is on the screen for those of you who are watching. You can go ahead and scan that. For those of you who are listening, Cynthia, where can they find you?
Yeah, Facebook is a great place. Instagram is a great place. If you search my name or Mango Business Consulting, you will find me. That's the easiest way for sure.
And it's what? www.mango.com.
mangobusinessconsulting.com.
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you for coming on today, Cynthia. It was a pleasure. Super excited to have shared your knowledge and wealth. And we'll have to have you on again here in the future.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Cynthia. Have a great day.